The devastating environmental impact of war, what you need to know. War leaves more than destruction in its wake. It doesn't just impact people. Entire ecosystems pay the price. In this video, we'll look through the window to uncover the shocking environmental effects of war that often go unnoticed. As humanity has always counted its war casualties in terms of dead and wounded soldiers and civilians, destroyed cities and livelihoods, the environment is often a hidden victim of war. Over the years, parties to armed conflicts have polluted water, torched crops, cut down forests, poisoned soils, and killed animals to gain military advantage. Environmental degradation and destruction from conflicts not only take a toll on nature itself, but also exacerbate food and water insecurity and destroy livelihoods. Environmental damage threatens the well-being, health, and survival of local populations, increasing their vulnerability for years and even decades. First up, let's talk about pollution. Military vehicles, weapons, and explosives produce harmful pollutants like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and sulfur dioxide. But that's just the beginning. The lasting negative consequences to our Earth's environment is hard to calculate. Artillery strikes, rocket launches, and even landmines release toxic chemicals into the air, soil, and water, wipe out forests, and make farmland unusable. 1 in 6 people around the world have been directly affected this year. From the civil war in Sudan to Russia's war in Ukraine, to the Israel-Hamas war. War doesn't just destroy cities, it destroys entire ecosystems. Habitat loss is a major consequence of armed conflicts. Forests are leveled, and biodiversity plummets as species are driven out or even wiped out entirely. And it's not just a temporary setback. Recovery can take decades if it happens at all. The damage can last far longer than you'd think. The bloody Second World War, Battle of Verdun in France, left the once fertile farmland contaminated. Over a century later, no one can live in the red zone due to the threat of contamination and unexploded bombs. Landmines are deadly devices that linger long after the battles have ended. They not only continue to claim human lives, but they also pose a lethal threat to wildlife. Animals unknowingly wander into these minefields, leading to devastating losses for local ecosystems. Then there's scorched earth tactics. Deliberately setting oil wells on fire or destroying dams is not just about warfare. It's environmental sabotage. These actions create massive pollution, leaving rivers poisoned and skies thick with smoke. The long-term consequences are staggering. These wells can pollute the air for weeks and months. Armed conflicts are also directly tied to deforestation. Forests provide resources for fuel, food, and livelihoods, and their loss exacerbates the hardships faced by local communities. Forests are cut down to fuel war efforts, removing essential ecosystems that are vital for our planet's health. Ukraine has lost 25% of its forest land so far, since the start of the invasion by Russia. Ukraine has not seen its natural reserves suffer this kind of damage in many decades. And it doesn't stop there. Soil degradation is another brutal outcome of war. War has profound and long-lasting effects on soil degradation. Military activities cause direct physical damage to soil structure through bombing and shelling and the movement of heavy vehicles, leading to soil compaction and erosion. Chemical contamination is another significant issue, with heavy metals from weapons, oil spills, and toxic substances like Agent Orange polluting the soil and disrupting its ecology. This not only threatens local agriculture but can trigger food shortages and economic instability. One heartbreaking statistic: a 2018 study published in Nature revealed that even a single year of conflict can cause local wildlife populations to crash. The loss of wildlife is an underreported consequence of war, but the impact is massive, pushing species closer to extinction. Armed conflicts often lead to dramatic declines in wildlife populations, with some species being pushed to the brink of extinction. For example, during the Sudanese Civil War, South Sudan's elephant population plummeted from 100,000 to just 5,000. The destruction of protected areas and national parks further exacerbates the problem, as seen in Mozambique, where giraffe and elephant herds in Gorongosa National Park shrank by 90% during the Civil War. But perhaps the most catastrophic environmental threat comes from the production, testing, and use of biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons. Biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons have devastating and far-reaching effects during war, causing immense human suffering and long-term environmental damage. Biological weapons, such as anthrax or smallpox, can spread rapidly, leading to widespread disease outbreaks that overwhelm healthcare systems and potentially cause pandemics. Chemical weapons, like nerve agents and mustard gas, inflict immediate and severe damage to the respiratory tract, skin, and eyes, with long-term effects including cancers and damage to various body systems. Nuclear weapons are particularly catastrophic, causing massive death and destruction through blast waves, intense heat, and radiation. Their use can lead to long-term environmental contamination, food shortages, and global climate effects. Beyond the initial destruction, the bombs release significant amounts of radiation into the environment, contaminating soil, water, and vegetation. The explosions also altered the genetic material of surviving plants and animals, disrupting local ecosystems. Even decades after the bombings, some areas still showed signs of radioactive contamination, affecting the environment and human health across generations. Sometimes, we only look at the human cost of war, which can't be understated. But we also all live with the environmental devastation that follows, which should be part of the human cost calculation. From pollution and habitat loss to the larger climate crisis that affects generations, conflict takes a toll on the planet we all share. We still have the power to raise awareness, advocate for change, and push for solutions that protect both people and our environment. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's work together to spread awareness and drive positive change. If you have ideas of how people can get involved, to have a voice in preventing future conflicts or resources to help our environment, please put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.